Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRuta.com. Lots going on in silver and cryptos. If you've been following the Road to Ruta, you're probably in the right place. Have your physical silver in your own possession. Number one. Any cryptos you have them in your own possession. Number one. Crypto, by far, hands down, Theta Fuel. The Theta family of tokens, which we are giving away with every private road subscription. But keep in mind, that's after the chaos. After the chaos, absolutely, you're going to want to have Theta in your possession. Everybody's going to have it. When Samsung downloads the Theta software on everybody's phone, 4 billion Android users, 4 billion downloads of the Theta Edge node, that's not a bad number. That's why I've long said that Theta is going to eclipse Bitcoin. Imagine understanding Bitcoin in the early days, like when it was pennies, and spending a couple $1,000s on massive amounts of Bitcoin in the early days, and then just waiting. That's kind of what's going on with Theta. And the Theta Labs has invented a way to share broadband, to share hard drive space, to share computing power for AI, for future blockchains, subchains on Theta. They've done it all, and patents for a lot of it. So there's no other Theta there's no other crypto that really compares to what Theta's doing. But having said that, we have to get through the chaos, and the number one asset to own getting through the chaos is our friend silver, the long maligned, the long price suppressed silver. 175 years, I think we're at about 175 years since the Opium Wars. The price of silver has been suppressed. HSBC is delivering all the silver these days. HSBC stands for Hong Kong Shanghai Bank. They were the number one. They were created in the 1800s to get all the silver back from China that England was paying for all the spices and silks and teas and stuff like that. And that's why it was so important back then and so important today. Today's manipulation of the price of silver. Every day, every trade, we've chronicled it. We've shown who's been doing it. We've shown how the regulators are not only turning a blind eye, but assisting in the manipulation. All this comes back to they have to control the price of silver. Silver is the most important industrial metal on the planet. It is used in almost everything. We would not live this kind of lifestyle without cheap silver prices. But at the same time, because of the way free markets work, the price of silver being so cheap, it's being misallocated all over the place, and there's massive amounts of silver, physical silver, being shipped to China and India. I got some news on India today, but China mainly. They are making a phenomenal amount of solar panels with all this silver. It's misallocation of very scarce assets, if you ask me. But hey, that's what happens when you rig the price too low. It gets misallocated and used in things like flat screen TVs and solar panels and electric cars. Yes, we can make all those things without silver. They won't be as good. And why? The price of silver is so cheap. Why not use all the silver you can? It's like free. Silver is used in very tiny, tiny amounts, which I'll get into. But today, what's going on these days is the banking cabal, run by the U.S. government mainly, or at least assisted by the U.S. government. BlackRock and JP Morgan, the two biggest silver riggers at the moment. HSBC, I think, is in deep crap. A lot of derivatives coming due. All year, they've been the main deliverer of silver. And JP Morgan customers, which is basically BlackRock, has been taking delivery and then shipping it to India and China, who are the users. China makes, I think it's about 90% of the solar panels installed these days. And by the way, solar's not stopping. Whatever you hear in the United States, it doesn't even matter. It's such a tiny part of what's really going on. India, China, Africa, everywhere else in the world is gobbling up these solar panels and putting them up because we told them to. We've been screaming at China for so long. Oh, you're the biggest polluter in the world. You have to fix this. They said, okay, we will. We're going to install, last year was 240 gigawatts, about half of the solar panels were installed in China last year. And this year's no different. The installations of solar panels in China was up 33% in the first quarter, 33% from the year before. I don't know what to tell you, guys. All these idiots running around saying, oh, solar's dead, solar's dead. Yeah, maybe in the United States of America, but the rest of the world doesn't give a shit. They don't care about the USA anymore. Unfortunately for the USA, we have destroyed all credibility in ourselves. Faith and credit, that's what the dollar survives on. Well, we have no credit, and we lost all faith. So what is it now? Manipulation, period, plain and simple. Yes, of course, the computer market manipulation is pervasive over every asset type. Cryptos, silver, gold, the US dollar, oil, shipping container prices, you name it. You name it, it's rigged. If it's not rigged and they see a problem, they're going to rig it. They're going to put it on a derivative market. And that's what's been done. Where are we right now? Silver is being held. Actually, it's above the moving averages. This is unique. So everybody asks, well, what's different? They're just going to rig it again. What's different, Bix? What's different? I don't remember the last time that silver has held above the moving averages for so long. And the moving averages keep creeping up. The India, right now, I've been studying the India silver market. If you didn't know, the first quarter was the largest quarter in silver imports in history for India, 130 million ounces. The biggest year was 300 million ounces. April comes out, I think, March 15th, the April numbers. So we are on track with India to import right now 520 million ounces of silver. You might be scratching your head going, what do you mean there isn't even 520 million ounces of silver available? That's true. So something's got to break. And the most likely thing, the thing that would level out markets is if silver price rose to $100,000, $600,000 an ounce. It would slow down the usage of silver in solar panels and electric cars and cell phones and flat screen TVs and electronics, military uses. By the way, that whole military uses that people are jumping up and down about, some people in the silver market, is it something? Yes, but you don't know how much crossover there is from what's already reported by the criminals over at the Silver Institute, because they have like miscellaneous electronics. How much miscellaneous electronics are actually military uses? We don't know. We don't know much about the silver industry at all, because it's been hidden from us. Even the people who do know aren't really sure about what is real and what is not. Same with gold, especially in gold, because we do know, at least on the road to Ruta and many people around the world that have read Gold Warriors, that there's massive amounts of gold out there, like phenomenal amounts, not 200,000 tons, 2 swimming pools. That's a lie, and that's a long-held lie, and gold bugs are going to be shocked when it's not 200,000 ounces of gold above ground, but 2 million or 3 million. Might be good for a new monetary system, which I think is one of the options. We're going to have many options when the old system fails. When the old system fails, it'll be a derivative meltdown. Derivative market, $2 to $3 quadrillion. JP Morgan being the largest U.S. bank holder of derivatives at, I think they're at $50 trillion in derivatives. And what do they have, $4 trillion in assets? I haven't looked in a while. What a criminal bank, my God. Shocking. The only banker for Bernie Madoff, the only banker for Jeffrey Epstein. How these guys stay out of jail is, well, like I said, Jeffrey Epstein, that's how they stay out of jail. They got dirt on all the politicians, most likely. All right. So where are we going from silver? We're looking strong. We're looking good. When it blows by $30, it'll move quickly to $50, probably bounce against it once. They'll pretend to slam it. Both the 1980 and 2011 bumps up against 50 were artificial slams. And I've outlined with the Hunt brothers, everybody knows about that one. They had about 100 million ounces of physical, about 110 million ounces of derivatives. The derivatives was their problem on the COMEX. They changed the rules and destroyed the price of silver. In 2011, it was Bill Daley, JP Morgan guy, Jamie Dimon's right-hand man, that they sent as President Obama's chief of staff, to bring the silver price up from $25 to $50 and then slam it to create an artificial bear market. I chronicled that as it was happening in 2011. That's how long I've been in this game. I didn't know fully how it was going to happen. I'm not scared when the price of silver goes down. I'm scared when it goes up. I'm more scared when it goes up. I'm not scared enough to sell, mind you. I'm in it for the long haul, for the end of silver price manipulation, so that we do find out the true fair market value of silver, which has been hidden for I don't even know how long. I do. It's 170 years. But that's the place to be. Physical silver in your own possession while this transition goes crazy. If they print money, if they continue to print money to get out of every situation possible, maybe they need to print 20 trillion over here, a quadrillion over here. That could be one of the ways they go about it. It won't save the derivative market, though, which will destroy everything. So there's kind of two things going on. Can they print their way out of it? And then the derivative implosion could destroy, and was built to destroy, the entire system. Alan Greenspan and friends back in the late 90s made sure that derivatives were not regulated, knowing the banking criminals would blow this gigantic bubble up so big that it would destroy themselves. And that's kind of where we are. We get to live through it. How exciting for us. Actually, it is. I think you and I chose to be on the planet at this point in time and live through what we're about to live through. So prepare yourself, brace yourself, get your assets in your own possession, get plenty of theta and Veritasium. Oh my God, Veritasium, the invention, it's a software. It is a patented software from Reggie Middleton. He was selling prepaid licenses to his software with the Veritasium token, and then the government, the SEC, shut him down. Shut him down hard too, harder than any other crypto. Why that? Because he invented a way around the banks. He invented a way around the criminal exchanges, invented a way around the criminal stock market, the bond market. All those are rigged, 100%, and rehypothecated, 100% at the DTCC. If you don't know about that, go to roadtoroota.com and do a search for that. See how many articles and interviews I've done about the DTCC and Seed and Company. Recently made famous through The Great Taking, great book. Although Road to Root was on that long ago. And it will take the total destruction of the system to start fresh for all the problems to be fixed. It won't be easy. It'll take decades. But if you're positioned with silver in your own possession, cryptos in your own possession, a little cash gets you through the hard times. And I know it's I don't have that kind of money. Everybody's out of everything. How do I prepare myself? I can't help you. I mean, we've been doing this on the Road to Ruta 24 years now. First with GATA, and then on the Road to Ruta website, and then on YouTube. And private road members know what to do. And if you followed me for long enough, you know where we're going, why we got there, how did we get here? How do we get in this crazy position that every market has to be rigged? The very early computer programs written by Alan Greenspan in the 1960s. It's insane, I know. But that's what happened. And that's what we're living through. And the end game has always been the destruction of everything, including the debt, which is the biggest problem. So yes, you'll be out of debt. And questions like, well, what happens to my house? I don't know. What do you think happens to your house? There won't be a bank to call your note. Those will all the banks will be gone. They'll be the most hated people on the planet. So I guess it's squatter rights. What happens to apartment buildings? I guess it's squatter rights. Who knows? We got to figure this out. We got to move forward. Nesra, Jessra, all these plans, the Iraqi dinar and all that bullshit. None of it. I don't care how well intentioned everything is. None of it will be accepted by the people. Nothing will be accepted by the people. The only thing the U.S. has on their favor is the Constitution. We can go back to gold and silver as money. I think there's a lot of gold and even some silver already made into silver coins at the U.S. Mint. Not necessarily in Ventures Gibson's area, but lots of evidence that there was a mint right outside the Grand Canyon, that they were making gold eagles and gold money, getting ready for the transition long ago, since the early 1900s. That's how long this has been going on. It's a big deal. This is a really big deal, and you're living through it. All right. We do have some solar news out. At least I saw it today. Those of you who have followed my work, you know that the amount of silver used in solar by the entire world was reported as 1/2 of what it really is by the Silver Institute, aka Metals Focus, the company behind the Silver Institute. Silver Institute's a shell company. Mike DeRizzo is the shell. The head guy from Hecla, I don't think he really knows what is going on, which is sad. But he is the chairman of the board. There's like 2 people at the Silver Institute. Just before the Silver Institute released their numbers, he was saying there's 300 million ounces of silver that went into solar in 2023. And then the Silver Institute comes out and says there was 190 million ounces. So they got a little problem with their communication. But that's where we are. All right. Here's what I want to talk about. And I blew this up. India's utility-scale renewable energy tender issues surge past record 69 gigawatts in 2024. So I've already talked about all the silver that's going into India the first quarter, 130 million ounces, on track for 520 million ounces. That would be the largest import in history of any country by far. How much does China import? Nobody really knows, but it's a lot. It's probably that much. This is what was reported in an article. Let's look at the article first. India's utility-scale renewable energy tender surges. India tenders 70 gigawatts of renewable energy in fiscal year 2024, half from solar PV. So that is, if you look at that big chart, so out of the 70 million tendered, which is like the government saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, half of that would be solar, which is 35 million or 35 gigawatts, which blows away anything in the past that India has ever done. I think that's probably a 5x or a 7x more going into India, and that's why they have to import all that silver. It's kind of one of the reasons. They don't make that much, so they're going to have to buy a lot from China. But they do know, the Indians do know the value of silver and gold and what they represent. A lot of people talk about investors in India turning to silver because gold is too expensive. I don't know. Silver's so massively undervalued, it's kind of hard to pinpoint where it is. So we could just say, okay, India, one of the largest, 69 gigawatts, that's a lot. And half of that is solar. I think it's more than half. Everybody stated at COP28, which was the big climate change meeting, which I'll get to in a second. They said we're going to have to triple the amount of installs of renewable energy by 2030, and most of that is going to have to be solar panels because we can do it. And absolutely we can do it. The issue and problem, there's quite a few problems. Number one is that the United States was the biggest consumer of solar a few years back, not even close anymore. China is taking everything to heart. As you can see from if you go to roadrunner.com, this one, the red is China, and you can see in the last 3 or 4 years, it's just massively jumped. I think it was 230, 240. I don't quite remember. So much has gone on, and look what this is out of Bloomberg. The next year, 2024, they just have a little increase. This has happened every freaking year for the past 5 years in solar. They say, "Wow, it was a crazy year last year, but this year's going to be just barely up." What a lie. What a lie. China's already 33% up in the first quarter. So will China hit 400 gigawatts this year? Everybody else maybe total of 600-700 gigawatts? And you might be thinking, wait a minute. We don't have that kind of silver available. Of course we don't have that kind of silver available. But that's what's happening. So part of this global solar manufacturing sector now at 50% utilization rate. Now, why, if everybody and their mother outside of the United States has got all these problems with companies going bankrupt. China doesn't have to worry about that. It's, they'll just fund the government. I mean, the U.S. does the same thing. We just do it differently and poorly. The U.S. is now trying to destroy the solar industry so that they don't use the silver. They're trying to destroy the electric car industry. They're getting the media to say, don't get an electric car. It might get cold. You might only get half the mileage. It's ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. Ask someone in California about their electric car. I'll guarantee you they love it. Absolutely love it. The people who don't love it is people who don't have any idea how easy it is to use in places like California. Yes, it could be trouble in the frozen states up north. And so you probably shouldn't get an electric car if you live, in the snowy, cold area. But they don't stop. Sometimes they'll stop at like minus 30 or whatever the temperature is, but they lose efficiency the colder it is. So you won't get the 300 miles you'll get with your regular, these days, the electric cars. They go 300 to 500 miles. It's kind of crazy. It's so amazing. But they'll lose like half of that. So you only get 150 miles or whatever before you have to charge again. So, the fact is that a lot of new manufacturing capacity was implemented last year. As a matter of fact, 550 gigawatts. So if you look at what was installed, 443 gigawatts, and you look at how much was made, which is 550 gigawatts, you're like, holy shit. The manufacturing lines, the new lines put in last year were 550 gigawatts, and we only did, the whole year did 443. What are they planning for? They're planning for COP28 that everybody signed, tripling the amount of solar panels. It's quadrupling the solar panels, like doubling other things, but tripling by 2030. So what was made last year? That's the question. If 550 gigawatts of new manufacturing capacity of solar was put in, what was it? It was all TOPCon and other technologies that use a lot more silver, believe it or not. TOPCon uses a little less than double what PERC, the old technology. So all those factories that are sitting idle, they're making PERC and they're gone. They'll never start up again. Why would they? TOPCon's going to 80% of the market this time. It was 30% last year, and the insanity of the Silver Institute and Metals Focus of what they did, lying to humanity, is it's embarrassing. It's probably illegal, but who would enforce a law against a media company that is artificially suppressing the information for markets? I don't know. The CFTC is on the side of the riggers, and not for riggers' sake, but to control the dollar. And what they're really doing is speeding up the consumption of physical silver. Physical silver is going to turn to unobtainium, as Cliff Hyde calls it. We won't be able to get it at any price. And you'll be sitting there. It's like gold. Like right now, you have a piece of gold, an ounce of gold and an ounce of silver. Let's call a gold eagle and a silver eagle. You look at the gold eagle and you say, wow, that thing's amazing. And you look at the silver eagle and say, oh, I have another silver eagle. Cool. I'll throw it in my pile. But look at this gold. Why? Because of the price. That's the only reason. Yeah, I think silver looks better than gold. But, mind you, silver tarnishes. Gold doesn't tarnish. Is that a reason to be more excited about, like 80 times? Is 80 times better? It's 80, 83, 84 to 1? I haven't looked in a while. The gold-silver ratio. If you have any gold out there, by the way, swap it for 80 ounces of silver, and when the whole thing crashes and we get back to reality, you're going to have a 1-to-1 gold-silver ratio. And you can go buy 80 of those round gold ounces, and you'll be looking at your silver and going, God, look how beautiful that silver is. Who cares about this gold? Look at that silver. That's what's going to happen. Now, there will be a very fast transformation when silver price goes to, say, $500, $600, $700 an ounce this year. this year. There'll be a very fast transformation. A lot of industries to take out or lessen the amount of silver. A lot of industries, it doesn't matter. Price of silver doesn't matter. Like a cell phone, it's like 1/100 of an ounce of silver in a cell phone. It's not really going to matter much, no matter what the price is. We still use our cell phone, and it's still necessary for a cell phone to work well. But a lot of industries will be able to reduce the amount of silver. One of those is solar. They don't have to now, but there are ways to do it. Here's an article just released the other day. Fraunhofer ISC researchers use fine screen printing to reduce silver in HGT cells. And everybody's like, Bix, they don't need silver anymore. Well, first of all, you have to, for this to happen, a lot of stuff in solar happens in the lab and doesn't get implemented for decades. For this to happen, you're going to have to go out to every manufacturing facility that they made last year and change the way it's done. It might be a small upgrade, but most likely it's a bigger upgrade. And with the price of silver, it's still under $30. Why would you do it? At $600, yeah, you'd probably hurry up and try to do it. By the way, HJT uses even more silver than the TopCon, like a lot more. So everything points to more silver until the price goes up. When the price goes up to $100, $200, $300, I think $300 is when the solar will start saying, oh my God, we need to change things. But it's not $30. Silver is not the impediment for pricing when it comes to making solar panels because it's so cheap. And that's the misallocation factor. And I want to remind you that the United States of America asked for this. We asked for it. Why Janet Yellen went to China just recently and said, stop making solar panels and stop making electric cars. We are the ones who pushed it. December 13th, 2023, state from Joe Biden on agreement reached at COP28, the climate agreement, the massive climate agreement. 8 years ago, the world came together in Paris to announce a historic commitment to address climate change and protect the planet for future generations. On my very first day of office, I took action to return the United States to the Paris Agreement, restoring America's global climate leadership. Since then, my administration has set the United States on an unprecedented course to tackle the climate crisis at home and abroad, securing the largest climate investment in history, unlocking clean energy breakthroughs that will power a clean economy and create thousands of jobs, and rallying leaders around the world to raise our collective ambition. Today, at COP28, world leaders reached another historic milestone, committing for the first time to transition away from fossil fuels that jeopardize our planet and our people, agreeing to triple renewable energy globally by 2030. All right, Joe, you're going to triple silver consumption through solar power and all the other, the cars and everything. You're going to triple silver consumption. That's what you just said. So imagine a world where the true number is that 800 to a billion ounces was used last year in industrial silver. So we're going to go to 3 billion ounces. 3 billion ounces of silver per year, because we're going to have to triple each time to get to the triple overall. You see how it doesn't quite work, Joe? You see how it doesn't quite work, Democrats? You see how it doesn't quite work, Republicans? You see how nothing quite works and how everything can fall apart? By the way, the COP28 meeting in Dubai, the new Paris Agreement, I was shocked to find out how many people we sent there. And you think, wow, the U.S. delegation, how many people do we have to send? 5 or 6 people, right? Are you kidding me? U.S. leaders at COP28 mandates updates on members of Congress and other officials at the 2023 Climate Summit. Look at the U.S. senators. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 U.S. senators. Is that our delegation? No. House of Representatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's about 25 congressmen, including the 7. That's over 30. Look at all these other people from government. Are you freaking kidding me? Did I see John Podesta? There he is, John Podesta, pedo king of America. But this is the guy that cracks me up. Rustam Benham, the chairman of the CFTC, is at the the climate change summit giving a keynote speech. Yes, the same guy who said this.
And in many respects, the resiliency and the market structure of the futures market really were able to tamp down what could have been a much worse situation in the silver market. And in many respects,
play it again.
The resiliency and the market structure of the futures market really were able to tamp down what could have been a much worse situation in the silver.
Commodity law. This is the number one thing in commodity law. It is illegal for the derivative markets, the futures and options, the COMEX, to set the price of silver. What he is saying in this statement is that the futures market changed the price, physical price of silver. And they were able to tamp down. That's illegal in commodity law. That's the only thing he's supposed to enforce, commodity law. And he's giving speeches at COP28 about, oh yes, we have to go green, but at the same time we have to tamp down the price of silver so that we can go green, but we're running out of silver. It's just a complete cluster blank. Insane. Absolutely insane. And here's what Rustin Benham said. Today's action by the CFTC is the culmination of 2-year examination of carbon markets and many more years of in-depth research regarding the impacts of climate and financial markets. The voluntary carbon market proposed guidelines is a clear statement that the CFTC will do its part to evaluate the standard-setting efforts already underway, said CFTC Chairman Rustin Benham. Quote, our goal all along has been to help shape standards in support of integrity, which will lead to transparency, liquidity, and ultimately price discovery. All established hallmarks of the CFTC regulated markets. I'm incredibly proud of our agency for taking such intentional and impactful action today. Give me a freaking break, Rustin Benham. There's the mafia dude himself. Doesn't he look like a mafia guy? Anyway. Yeah, that's what I got for you today. Stay tuned on the Road to Ruta. Hey, if you want to join the Road to Ruta, first of all, the free emails on the left side, put your name and email address. I send out emails every few days, sometimes every day. And if you want to subscribe to the private road, get all the behind-the-scenes action. We are currently giving away 5 Theta, 50 T-Fuel, and 500 T-Drop mailed to your front door with every 1-year subscription. So go check it out, roadtoruta.com. Click on subscribe today. It'll give you more info. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you.